Greetings, this is Jazz for JazReviews, and here we are with a massively hyped Destiny. I wanted to produce a full review for Destiny, but it was not meant to be. Publishers weren't exactly giving review copies for this one, and my appendix chose to completely fuck me. You know, after everything, I really didn't have the time. But, you know, I wanted to get something up, at least some kind of an impression-styled, casual, more opinionated take on what I personally think of the title. And really just the bullshit surrounding just how Destiny has done what it's done. It has made $325 million in the first 5 days, which would make this game one of the most fastest selling games of all time. So why is that, and what's with the review scores? Well, with something like an approximate 5 million units sold at, say, a combined retail price of $65, you can bet your ass that there'll be 1 or 2 million left quite disappointed. And there's numerous reasons for that. The game is remarkably smaller than what was promised. If you remember, say, around a year back, the concept was actually sold upon multiple zones on Earth to explore that wasn't just old Russia. It included things like a swampy Chicago, and Saturn's rings would actually host derelict ships for players to travel to. Mercury would also play a big part, but you know, Bungie were definitely overselling Destiny and exaggerating the scope of just how vast Destiny will be. But from all the things missing from what was promised or implied, I think we'll be seeing it all pretty soon in some form of DLC. You know, don't get me wrong, the game looks beautiful, all with real effective illusions of scale in its kind of picturesque backdrops, despite not actually being able to explore everywhere. But the game is still running at 30 frames per second, which for next gen is becoming a little insulting. You know, there's plenty of games out now achieving 60 frames at 1080p. But on the other hand, Destiny does have big environments, great textures and polymodels, and with a ton of network code to deal with. And it's easy enough to demand 60 frames, but I know the PlayStation 4 is capable of a lot more. You've essentially paid top dollar for an 8th gen console, yet you're still getting last gen features with only really a bump in resolution. Destiny's not a game you'll need to or readily want to upgrade your console for. It's a sales game, it really is. The way I see it, the money men aren't prepared to let the game become more superior on one platform than the other. And last gen consoles are still very much holding it back. I'm just blown away at just how much money Destiny's raking in. And there's reasons for that too. Major publications, game journalists, and myself applied for review copies of Destiny. And you know, the PR guys at Activision would reply positively, take your address, and that's basically where it ended. Review copies were not given for this game, because if they were, the chances of Destiny flopping would have been much higher. And that's kinda scary that publishers like Activision can push this to like no end and make stupid amounts of money on pure marketing and hype, whilst avoiding critics altogether. The beta to the game in a lot of ways was responsible for achieving this many sales, because of course in order to get your hands on the beta, you had to have pre-ordered Destiny. And that's quickly becoming what betas are all about these days, less the means to test and improve your game than just using it as another sales tool. But the hype itself has just been nuts. Marketing has been nuts, with Destiny on Times Square. That kind of marketing at that level does crazy things to gaming. But if you ask me, I think a lot of the hype has been brought around by itself, with people recognizing Halo developers. Bungie created the game, but also with the notion that this would be the next massive AAA MMO style shooter. When put in the limelight like this, there's a lot of casual gamers that will see Destiny as an offering that could be a huge change and refreshing take on first person shooters, something different from Call of Duty, but also something like the next step up from a Halo. I think general or casual gamers are ready for something more, and you know, Destiny comes along and supposedly offers everything. Stunning visuals, brilliantly crafted worlds that are marketed as absolutely huge, multiple classes, different armor, weapons, RPG elements, and of course the big social drop-in co-op for it all as well. Not to mention the PvP multiplayer and Peter Dinklage to narrate it all.
You don't know how long I've been looking for you. I'm a ghost. Actually, now I'm your ghost. And you, well, you've been dead a long time. So you're gonna see a lot of things you won't understand.
It's a big sell, and previewed, sold upon as something that came together as the flawless, immensely polished, massive IP for the next generation. The problem is though, at least the way I feel, is it just doesn't tie together all that well, or nowhere near as well as we could have hoped for. It's not a bad game, but it just doesn't excel at anything. The shooting is great for what it is. I mean, okay, you can sprint, slide, jetpack, ride speeders, and teleport all over the place, and it feels tight and completely functional. Bosses may just be bullet sponges, but it's still fun. But that's not just what this title was meant to be about. Bungie dubbed Destiny as a shared world shooter. This genre doesn't exist. In my books, this is kind of a subtitle for an MMO done half-assed. The game feels so empty. You'll go through the entire campaign and leave with no real clue about what you did or for what reason.
What happened to it?
I could tell you of the great battle.
And for an IP that is meant to last 10 years or so, where the hell is the storyline? Our main player, Guardian, is like a bootleg Master Chief. And the social hub tower feels almost as hollow as the rest of the universe. There are no real conversationable NPCs, and the vendors are the only ones that you can interact with. And you can't so much as even ask them about the universe. There is also no close proximity voice chat of any kind, with no real way or meaningful way to communicate with any other player that may be trying to help you. So Destiny feels like almost like a massive grind fest of just wave upon wave killing until Peter Dinklage manages to open the door. Strikes can be a lot of fun with friends, but Destiny, if played solo, is going to become very tedious. From what I've played, it's all rather rinse and repeat, and although its classes, mods, and weapon unlocks are enjoyable to obtain, none of which really set Destiny aside as anything all that great. And there still isn't enough content to make for a decent competitive multiplayer either. At this point, I feel as if it needs a lot more maps, mods, and a dedicated server system. Where is that? But in any case, this is not a fully fledged review of any kind. Just maybe even a rant on what I think of Destiny and what I've taken away from it. But anyways, I'm out of the hospital now, just waiting for my appendix to start playing up again so they can go ahead and slice me open. But do expect a video this week on the top 5 medieval video games. But so far as Destiny is concerned, Activision's stock prices have taken a slight dive, and Bungie may be losing out on a $2.5 million bonus to what was laid out in the original contract with Activision, all because the review scores are too low. But all the same, I'd love to hear your opinions on the matter and the launch of Destiny itself. Do you think it's disappointing? Were you anticipating more? How much more? But thanks for watching, this has been Jazz, and I'll see you in the comment section below. Cheers!
Lost the lead. Gained the lead. Ammo inbound.